Anytime now.
Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade Podcast. I'm Seth Dolby, joined here, of course, by my usual co-host, Buddy Poley. And Chuck looks a little different this weekend. We'll call him Peter Stratta. How are you doing, Peter Stratta?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm part of the ABR drinking team. And I'm getting a Wendy's gift card from Trackhouse, so I'm doing great. And it was a great weekend. I was in Chicago, and it was just Buddy Poley swept the weekend.
That is true. I had my own interesting weekend, but it doesn't really
another
concern.
Show.
We don't have a show for it, but
we literally
part of it.
do.
Part of it.
Oh man, yeah.
We have a show
Push the Pass.
We have a show for part of it. I also did other non-IndyCar things this weekend, which we
That's
don't
true.
have a show for.
We did not have a sprint car show yet, but if
yes.
Anyone's open to hosting,
I mean, I'll host. I don't really care. Anyway, we'll leave that one there for now.
co-host.
We'll leave that one there for now. But yeah, I went to 2 nights of PSV week at Hagerstown in Maryland, which is funny that my first official race at PA Speed Week was in Maryland. But anyway, when did that. Track was heavy, fast as all can be. That was awesome. And then Williams Grove on Friday night. That was also awesome. So that was a lot of fun. All right. So, Buddy, of course, you went to Chicago.
Yeah.
Again.
I
got rained on.
Dude, fuck
again.
You. We didn't have to bring that part up. Yeah. All right. So
it'll get brought up at some point.
Oh, dude. So start out with the weekend on the train on the way back from the airport to I guess wherever the fuck we were going. There was a guy who stumbled upon the train who I was about to lay out on the ground, and that was our welcome into Chicago. So I just wanted to put that out there. We got the real Chicago train experience right off the bat from getting there. This guy, he stumbles across. He's got a handle of Bailey's Irish cream, which is the wildest thing I could have ever imagined someone just being carrying around. He's stumbling around, and I was like, all right, I'm prepared to lay this dude out. Well, hold on. I'm a good person, so I would have asked what his stop was and then laid him out. And then if, I'd wake him up for his stop. And then if I didn't, then that's his problem. So that was my introduction to Chicago, as if I haven't been there lots of times. But anyway, getting into the actual racing side of things, went to the race on Saturday, obviously. If you did not watch the rundown from Down Under, I would be shocked if you didn't. But I did that, and Shane Van Geisbergen won. That was amazing. I was fucking over the moon. I could have drank a whole bottle of Bailey's Irish cream if I wanted to that day. So that was cool. Shane put on a clinic. Him and Kyle Larson acted like he knew what a race car was. So that was good. So Saturday was unbelievable. Perfect weather. So much better than last year. Unbelievable. And then Sunday, obviously we saw what happened. It rained. It started and then it rained, and I would say this is almost as worse as last year. And the reason I say that is it did not rain as much, or it rained as hard, but it didn't rain for as long as last year. But at least we didn't get the race in and the guy I'm pulling for wrecks and then it rains. That was Big Suck. That was a product of Big Suck for sure. Chase Briscoe can lick my nuts.
Wasn't it already raining at that point though?
It was raining, but it was sprinkling. Okay. We'll get into that part because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about how bad the conditions were at that time. But anyway, the race as it was last year, it was an amazing race. It was, both races were some of the best racing I've seen on a road course in NASCAR just ever. Not even just in the next gen era in the past, however many years. It was just great racing. If there was any doubt whether we should be on a street course or not, we better have put those wonders to bed, because we absolutely should, because it produces some great racing, and it brings out the best in the best drivers, in my opinion. I did not go to any of the concerts. I heard Keith Urban. Keith Urban was like 100 feet away from me, and I was just kind of vibing with it. But I didn't care.
I think he was more than 100 feet away.
Probably more than 100 feet away. Yeah.
Based off my memory of the layout, I would say
Saturday in the park was great. I think it was the 4th of July. And then Sunday, there's the
Thursday
end of
was the 4th of July.
Shut the fuck up. There's the end of beginning song. The line is, when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. I think what I feel is the rain. I think that's what we feel when we're in Chicago. But I love the city. It's a beautiful city. It's a great city to host street race, and it puts on a damn good show. And the turnout was just as good as last year. I don't see many people deterred from the previous year's debauchery. And it was just really good to see. Obviously, there was a little hiccup on Sunday, but it was not many people left. Not many people left. It was good.
All right,
Peter, I love this race.
Well, actually, so we'll go ahead and actually start there. So now that we've gotten through Buddy's weekend, let's just go ahead and talk about the general event itself, and not just the race. Obviously, the race is a part of it we need to discuss for sure. But the overall, you mentioning you didn't go to any of the concerts.
No.
And whether or not you're actually interested in doing the concerts, I can't stand the fact that we run the race so late and the concerts have to come before. And if you want to get in a decent spot for the race, you have to choose to miss the concerts. Or if you want to watch the concerts, you have to choose to basically just end up wherever for the race. We could totally just reverse those two things and run the race before.
That's what they've done in Gateway the past couple of years, is have a post-race concert. They have
or at least
2 or 3 headliners, and the third one is always after the Cup race on Sunday.
Yeah, because they had Lauren Elena, who's like a okay size, I guess, artist. They could have put her before the race, and whoever wanted to go. Clearly, they'd be diehard Laura Elena fans. They wanted to go to that. And then afterwards, Keith Urban, obviously was the headliner. I'm sure if people really wanted to go see Keith Urban, they'd stick around for Keith Urban. So yeah, it's that was. I will say, I'll give them a lot of credit, because they learned a lot from last year. And I think this is just something to throw in the pot for the third year. Is that, okay, all right, well, this is 2 times we've done this. I mean, because really, what are the odds that it happens, the exact same thing happens again?
I would almost put money on it at this point. I mean, the amount of people I heard say it's July in Chicago, like that means it's going to rain.
Okay, so I want to address that, because I stayed with my aunt and uncle who have lived in outside Chicago for 30 years. They said this is very abnormal. And when I lived there, I don't remember this being a thing. Like, it's not like I feel like I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. It rains most, 3 to 4 times a week in the afternoon for 30 minutes. It's what it is. I don't remember that being a thing in Chicago. So like, I don't know where this narrative is coming from.
Okay.
So I don't understand. Only 2 Chicagoland races, only one in the summer was postponed, and it was only delayed. It wasn't postponed. Well, neither were these, but yeah. So
yeah. Yeah, I don't, again, to I guess tie up the concert, saying I don't understand it from the point of you have this one event that is daylight sensitive, and you have these other events that are absolutely not daylight sensitive and could go
daylight
all
and
night.
day sensitive. Like,
Yes.
we can't run it on Monday.
Yes. So I understand your big TV audience, this, that, and the other, but as long as you have international talent like Shane Van Geisbergen in there, I don't think you're going to hurt for TV ratings. I just don't. Yeah, it's goofy and it makes no sense. It doesn't need to start at 1 o'clock, but everyone brought up that the IndyCar race started at 1:30 and that was the lead into the Cup race or whatever. I had enough time to, mess around a little bit in mid-Ohio and got back to my hotel in time. And I kind of forgot where my truck was. So I probably wasted an hour in there and still got back in time for the start of the race. Now, they were doing the pace laps and it would have probably gotten started right before I got home or got back to the hotel. But still, I would have seen 90% of the race.
Yeah.
I don't know. It should be able to start a lot sooner than that.
It should, but something tells me that NBC purposely wanted IndyCar and to be the lead into NASCAR, like you said, and probably just scheduled around that, prioritizing IndyCar this one time, which obviously won't be an issue next year with IndyCar on a different network.
That's very true. Also, but in response to that, NASCAR seems to want this to be a marquee event. Like, I don't know about y'all. I've gotten the vibe that NASCAR wants this to be a big event that means a lot to win. And it seems like it's actually becoming that. Like, Alex Bowman genuinely seemed like he cared about winning this race. It wasn't just a random, insert racetrack name here, win. It seemed like it meant a lot. And I said this in the Bandwagoners guide. If you guys haven't watched it, please go watch it, even though the race already happened. It's still a great video. But it is a tough racetrack. It is a hard racetrack to win at. I compared it to the Darlington of road courses, I feel like. And I feel like that's a pretty apt comparison because I feel like the type of driving style that you have to have at Darlington is the same type of driving style you have to have at the Chicago Street Race to be good. And the best of the best show up and are good at Chicago. You see it. And I would imagine that if NASCAR wants this to be the marquee event that they're trying to sell it as, they would want it to go on time or not go on time, but they would want it to be the priority. Yeah. Like, obviously, like you said, Peter, it won't be a problem next year. Fox and NBC, they can, do whatever. But it just goes back to, this is the second year of this race. This is the second year it's gotten postponed, or not postponed. It's gotten shortened. Yeah.
Well, yeah, both.
It wasn't delayed this year, but it was shortened.
It was delayed the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was shortened. So, like, it's you're not going to keep people. Like, we got lucky that as many people came back as they did this year. And there was a lot of fucking people. And everybody, I didn't hear a single complaint about last year. I heard it, you know what the general vibe was when it was, yeah, last year that was crazy. It would never happen again. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm back from where I'm happy. It was still a great race. But will that be the consensus this year or next year? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens a third time, I think you're going to lose trust of people.
Exactly.
I think, for sure.
They need this race. This race has to go on 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock at the very latest, in my opinion. Like,
I think you could make 3 o'clock
be
work,
ideal.
or 3. I think you could make 3 Eastern work. Yeah, so 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect time because 4 o'clock is clearly too late. Last year it started at 5. Well,
it was supposed.
It was supposed to, and then it wasn't,
and they moved it up. Well, yeah, it was the whhole thing. But it actually started on time last year. It was going to start up, and then they moved it up an hour, and then it still got delayed an hour. So it started on time last year, and we still only got 75 out of the 100 laps that were scheduled last year.
Of course, NASCAR helped them. I'm going to get more into this later, but NASCAR helped themselves out a little more last year with the way they officiated it. This year, they didn't help themselves out as much. Actually,
I think they did. And we'll get into that. Go ahead.
I mean, that's pretty much all I have. Okay, so for the event, you mentioned it, okay, the one thing I did want to bring up. So basically the entire time that I think we've talked about this, since it became a go ahead thing, was do we want B, this to be a permanent thing? Because in my head, it was always a basically 3-year thing. And then you go do another street course. Cause in my eyes, it was trying to build the brand and do places. Now you, and a lot of people have mentioned that they want it to be a marquee event.
Yeah.
So what are we leaning at now? I'm kind of still of the opinion that we try and hook people and then go back to Chicagoland and then find another street course to do. Or maybe rotate it and come back here in a few years.
Honestly, so I would be in favor as much as I love the street race. I love the city of Chicago. You guys have heard me for 2 years talk about how much I wanted this race to happen. But I honestly would be a fan of this moving around. I think that the amazing as you know, as hindered as the 2 Chicago street races have been, they have both been 1, great races, 2 spectacular events to attend as a race fan. I'm sorry, $270 for general admission ticket seems like a lot. For what you get, it is well worth it. It is 100% well worth it. And I think the marquee event thing, I think that just goes along with whatever street race we're at. I think that can carry. I would not be opposed to staying at Chicago just because I'm worried that if we go somewhere else, the racing is not going to be as good, because clearly we've hit on something here. The racing is good at this racetrack. But
I think that's I think you can replicate that somewhere else.
I think you can. I think you can. Yeah.
I think it just depends on where and what city, like what streets to block off, how you create the track. But I feel like with how Grant Park is more or less a grid system, it could be replicated about anywhere else, whether that's Pittsburgh, whether that's Denver, whether that's Seattle, wherever.
Yeah.
I mean,
now,
definitely
are those markets you've heard are potential landing spots for another street race?
Well, I think Pittsburgh's been public in wanting the street race after they saw the success of the first Chicago race. People have been bringing up Denver for years. I'd be more apt to see a race at Pikes Peak myself, but you never know. And I think the Pacific Northwest is just overall a very untapped market. But if you're trying to not street race in the rain, maybe Seattle's not the best option.
Yeah, let's avoid that one for a minute. I'd be really interested with Pittsburgh as an option. I'd probably be interested in going to that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I went to Chicago once.
We'd have a free place to stay in Pittsburgh.
Oh. So yes, I would definitely be interested in going to Pittsburgh. But yeah, as long as you keep the track design fairly similar, we've seen this track design is conducive to great racing.
Yeah.
As we've seen. Now,
which is shocking. Like, let's be real.
It's
we
not
all
really.
saw the layout. Well, no.
In hindsight.
In hindsight. But when this layout came out, we all said this race is going to suck.
Yes.
We all said this race is going to.
In 2021, we saw that iRacing race, the Pro Invitational race here. And
I forget
who won. They won like 30 seconds.
It was terrible. I
think Josh Balicki or someone winning.
Yeah, something stupid. Yeah.
But in hindsight, you need, obviously we've seen it the past couple of years, you need these big braking zones in these corners to create passing opportunities. Yes. We see, at our more traditional road courses, Watkins Glen per se, they don't have a lot of this. It's a little more technical, and you don't really get that opportunity to do it. And obviously, it's not a racetrack, so the surface itself is harder to, get the brakes down on, get the power down on. And especially when it rains, there's paint everywhere. So that makes it even more difficult. So, yeah, I think if we just follow this mold, we can make it work at a lot of different places, I think.
Yeah. I think the bottom line is any doubters that had anyone that had any doubts about the street race, you have been proven wrong. NASCAR can do it, and they can do it well.
Yes. All right. But I don't think NASCAR can officiate it worth shit. I'll be completely honest.
I'm gonna disagree.
Some of these issues started in the off. No, not the off season.
No,
in the playoffs. Some of these issues started in the playoffs last year. Obviously, last season we had no stage breaks in this race, and it helped the race significantly.
It did.
It was certainly noticeable in this race. Obviously, we had to waste 5 laps under caution because of doing the stages. For the life of me, I don't understand this. I do not understand this. Last year at COTA, when we didn't have stage breaks, we re-racked them and restarted on the lap leading up to the restart. They came out of 4 on the last lap of a stage to restart the race. We could do that then, but we can't throw a quickie caution and come in and run 2 laps to the end of a stage. We have to burn 5 laps. Mind you, while the teams are out there on slicks in the rain. Like, it was raining pretty hard, and they're out there in the...
By that point, it was raining. It was pouring.
Yes.
At that point.
Okay, so we do that. We waste 5 laps under caution. Great. You know, that only ended up being like almost 10% of the race after it all was said and done.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the next ensuing restart, when it's raining, again, apparently not as hard as it looked on TV, but we ran double file restarts. Holy shit. We just learned this last year. We ran the whole race on single file restarts, and it was great. I had no complaints. What do? We go immediately and go double file, and it's a complete mess. We take out Shane Van Geisbergen for what amounts to absolutely nothing.
Well,
obviously that's not the reason I'm upset about it. I'm upset about it because we did it when we knew that it worked to not do it, and we did it anyway.
Yeah.
Peter, and also, why can't we just actually build a rain tire? I don't understand this. Every other series in the world knows how to build a rain tire. Except us.
What do you mean?
Well, we run an intermediate tire, basically. We don't actually run a full wet tire.
I mean,
why can't we do that?
I don't understand. I mean, we were racing in the rain. Like, I don't know what to tell you. We have an intermediate tire on ovals. We have a rain tire on.
Okay, again,
it seems to me,
it's essentially the same tread pattern. It's not enough.
Okay,
it's definitely not enough. I watched the race. Guys were wrecking all over the place.
Well, they were doing that last year too. Peter,
not quite like this?
The one thing in terms of officiating that I had an issue with was the caution that ended up ending stage 1. It was for Corey LaJoie's first spin. And that caution ended up being 28 minutes from yellow to green.
His first spin. I love it.
Yeah, first spin. My issue was they couldn't just audible and open pit road or prematurely end the stage 2 laps early and open pit road and get back racing, knowing the time was an issue. They had said prior to that 8:20 is the deadline for the race. So, in my opinion, they should have been prioritizing getting a full race in versus keeping it normal like every other race.
Yeah. I will agree with, I think because here's what NASCAR did a great job of putting out there before the race even started that 8:20 will be the end of this race.
Yes. And TV did a great job.
Yes.
That as well.
It was great that was portrayed to everyone out there that, hey, no matter what, this will be the end of the race. And I thought that was great. I thought that the no questions asked, like teams, it is up to you what tire you want to run. I thought that was fantastic. The only issues I had was you should have called an audible and said no stage cautions because of the time limit. I think that absolutely should have been a thing. We've been on the crusade of getting rid of stage cautions on road course forever. And apparently we didn't do it hard enough because they put them back. And then I had an issue with, especially the stage 2 caution, because that was just ridiculous.
How long did we have left at that point?
Not much.
Yeah.
It was, and the double file restarts. I think in general in the wet, we should have single file restarts on at least road courses.
Yes.
I think he only got 8 laps of stage 3, so it would have been within 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes if he had left.
That's what, I think it was right at 8 o'clock is when stage 2, or when
that
stage
was right
3
when I woke
started.
back up.
Yeah. Other than that, they use local yellows for the first time ever, I feel like. I saw someone put out a blue flag and I was like, what is that?
Well, they've used blue flags forever. They use blue flags on ovals.
No. It wasn't a blue with a yellow stripe.
Oh.
It was a blue flag as in a local yellow flag. When Denny Hamlin and Ricky Stenhouse spun out. They did
do that last year.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
They did do that last year.
Yeah.
I remember them trying to do that.
I thought that's great. I thought that's great.
I do remember them trying to do that for, I think it was the first Noah Gragson incident, the one with Eric Jones and them, and then eventually they realized they couldn't get out. But so yeah, they did do that. I don't know why we can't get that at every road course. I don't really understand it. Also, I'm starting to think the drivers just kind of sit there on purpose to try and bring out a caution half the time.
Yes. Well, I think that's and like Denny Hamlin and Ricky Stenhouse, they spun out right. It was right in front of me. I was literally watching it 30 feet in front of my eyes. It was very clear that they were trying to bring out a caution, and once they realized that it wasn't happening, that's when they tried to get refired. Now I will say
said on Actions Detrimental that he stalled it when trying to refire.
Yeah, he did. He did stall it trying to refire. So did Ricky. And they finally got it going. So I mean, kudos for NASCAR because they were sitting there wild. They were in turn 2 when they finally got going. Yeah, and I thought that was good that they.
Well, that was the thing about some of the cautions that came out. It seemed like, and honestly, I was just now bitching about NASCAR, but it seemed like a lot of the cars just kind of sat there waiting on a caution. And to be honest, I think we need to find a way to penalize that. I don't know how we got onboards in every one of these. You can figure out if they're trying to fire it up or not.
Yeah. I think that's a valid point because I think every caution that happened other than stage cautions were 100% validated. I think every caution that they threw was okay. That had to be a caution. So I'll applaud them for that. I thought the overall officiating for this race was fine. I think there's a lot of things that there are things that they could do different, but I think that generally they were okay. The big blunder for me is the double file restarts at stage 2, obviously because of who it took out. Took out Shane Van Geisbergen because Chase Briscoe, is, a Gibbs caliber driver that's, drives over his head. How many times? Let's see. We got Bristol Dirt. We got the Coke 600. We got Indianapolis. Now we got this, just 4 great examples of how Chase Briscoe just.
I mean, Christopher Bell does do that a lot, so I think he'll fit in.
Yeah, but Christopher Bell
been better recently. But
Christopher Bell doesn't normally take out other people.
That's true.
Yeah, sure. And Chase Briscoe is notorious for taking out other people with this, and it's really frustrating because I watched the onboard from that. He was being extreme, which I understand. It's a cup race. You're trying to make the playoffs. You see an opportunity in which other drivers are maybe struggling, so you see the opportunity to gain position. I get it. But it is the first lap after a fucking restart. Like, calm down, bro. Like, you did not have to send it in there under Reddick. Like, he sent it from far back. A little too far back for, like, in dry conditions, it was a late move. Much less in wet. Yeah. And you try to send it in there. So, I was frustrated.
It's comparable to what he did to Reddick on Bristol Dirt.
Exactly. It is very comparable.
It looked the same, too.
It did.
And it's with Reddick again. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, that was great. I saw it happen right in front of me, and I was like, oh, Chase Briscoe, what a nutsack. And then, I'm sitting there in all my SVG garb, just sitting there like, all right, this caution's happening anyway, whatever. And I hear some dude yell, SVG is out. And I'm like, all right, how many fucking $10.50 bush lights is this motherfucker had? And then I look over at the screen, and I'm like, why is this dude in a Wendy's uniform getting out of his car? Okay, all right, he's out. Fuck, my life is ruined. And then it rained, and then it poured fucking rain, and we were no longer We were wet and sad. We were, and not in a good way, in either or. Brad Keselowski put on Twitter that during the rain delay, Brad put on Twitter, "Hey guys, call me Captain Obvious, but it's raining here in Chicago. Shoot me some questions." And I commented on that. I said, "Yep, I'm also here in Chicago, Brad. Don't shoot me any questions. Just shoot me." It sucked.
Yeah.
It fucking sucked. You know what sucked even worse about this whole thing? I'm sitting there freezing my ass off in this t-shirt and shorts because it was supposed to be a wonderful 85-degree day in Chicago. I was going to be under a fucking tree, just in the shade, watching Shane win. Nope. Chase Briscoe goes in there and fucking takes him out because he's a dickhead and he decided that someone can stop the sauce. And nope, takes him out. And so I'm sitting there pouting and I'm like cold and wet. And I'm sitting here thinking about it. I was like, this is awesome. My rain jacket, it's not 2,000 miles away in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's 30 miles away in fucking Wheaton, Illinois, sitting on my fucking bed at home. Nope. Of course. I would never not bring a rain jacket to a fucking racetrack again. I'm an idiot. Dumbass of the week, me.
It's like how I will never go to Martinsville again in shorts.
That's true. It can be an 85-degree day. Seth will not go to Martinsville in shorts.
Will not do it. Scarred for life.
The one year it was started snowing in the truck race in Martinsville, I was also wearing shorts. So yeah, never forget.
The funniest thing to me is that I thought Wendy's was going to end up with a glow up this year from last year.
Dude.
They sponsored, and they still got caught out by turn 6. And in fact, ended up with a worse day because they finished dead fucking last.
Well, okay, two things about this. Shane won last year, finished dead last this year. Alex Bowman finished dead last year, won this year. So that's fucking funny. That's crazy.
That is hilarious.
That's never happened before, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I looked up, what's his name? Rock Bear did.
Really?
So,
Okay.
Props to him for doing that research. Of course, he would know that, but props to him.
Props to me because I was the first one to point that out. I said that when Alex was behind Joey Hand. Like, I'm pretty sure I was the first one to point this out.
I'd totally forgotten. I remember thinking about that. I was like, where did Alex finish in this race? And last year, and I could not remember for the life of me. And all of a sudden, I remember him blowing up now.
Checks notes. Dead fucking last. Yeah. And then another thing, if I don't see a Burger King or a McDonald's or an Arby's sign in turn 6 next year, that is the biggest missed opportunity for a marketing campaign I've ever seen in my life. You've had the Wendy's car wreck in that corner 5 times in 2 races. And
I think Wendy's needs to embrace it and sponsor that corner.
They should. Wendy's turn 6.
Well, okay, let's be honest. It's never going to happen because McDonald's has a huge stranglehold on the race.
It's
but
true.
Like, McDonald's needs to be there.
We should just start calling it the Baconator Corner or the Saucy Nugs Corner or something.
No, we'll call it the Wendy's Corner.
Dave's Corner.
Dave's Corner.
I mean, we still call turn 1 at Charlotte Roval the Tums Heartburn turn. So
yeah, you know why? Because it is, and we still call the Sears Tower the Sears Tower. It may be spelled WILLS, but it's pronounced Sears.
I forgot they changed the name of that.
Stupid motherfuckers.
Yeah,
15 years ago, but yeah, still the Sears Tower.
15 years ago. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right. So obviously you mentioned. Well, hang on. Back up. One thing led to another, and Joey Hand won stage 2. That means we divvied out a grand total of 0 stage points, playoff points for the first 2 stages, which is
Has that ever happened before?
I don't think that's ever happened.
No, that was also a first in this race.
Really? Okay.
Someone on Twitter, I don't remember who pointed it out.
Yeah.
Now,
so that's funny.
So let me give RFK Racing credit. That was a very smart play.
Yeah.
Keeping Joey Hand out there. 1, he could win the race.
Yeah.
But 2, Chris Buescher and Alex Bowman are fighting for the playoff. We're fighting for the playoff bubble. And you took a playoff point and an extra point away from Alex Bowman for doing this. So, I mean, A1, like, 1,000 IQ move by RFK Racing for this.
Yeah.
Whether Joey Hand could have made it or not.
Yeah. So that worked out for him. And then, of course, we restarted with stage 3, which wound up being, 8 laps to go?
Something like that, yeah.
And after doing another fucking stage caution with 15 minutes left in the race.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alex Bowman overtakes Joey Hand with 6 laps to go, I think. Yes.
It was 4 or 5, but yeah.
4 or 5, yeah, whatever it ended up being.
I don't give a shit. It was awesome.
And looks to be in control of the race. Christopher Bell's the first guy on slick tires. He gets hit by Martin Truex Jr., gets spun out. It's pretty much over this point. Oh, here comes Tyler Reddick from downtown in the Jordan car.
He was from the south side of Chicago. Coming through, dude.
Cut off about 8 seconds and 2 laps or something there, and was going to win this race had he not hit the wall in turn 5.
Hang on.
He was going to win this race.
Well, no, Alex brought up a good point in his post-race. Alex brought up a good point. He said as long as he held the dry line, Reddick was going to have to hit him and get him out of the way.
I think he would have done that. In car, you really have to hit someone to knock him out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. You really.
I think he would have done it.
I'm just saying. I don't think it would have been as easy as everybody thought it was going to be for him to pass him. Because Alex
Reddick would have had to try and make a pass in a wet line.
Exactly. If Reddick tries to make the pass, Bowman has the opportunity to force him wide or pin him down into a wet line on slicks, and he would have been. So I don't think it was as easy as thought. He was going to get there. 100% going to get there.
I get your point. I just think based off the fact that they finished second last week and the fact that he knew that Bubba Wallace is battling for that bubble spot on the playoffs and he didn't want another guy not below that, but not locked in to win.
You're underestimating the fact that Alex Bowman hadn't won in 80 races. And
I mean, they both could have wrecked.
Just took it to road course ace, like Rolex 24 winner and Ford factory driver Joey Hand just took it to him.
I mean, yes, and I'm not trying to dismiss Joey Hand, but he's not in a Hendrick car. So I think that has something to do with it. And Bowman has been solid on road courses. He's not been a slouch.
No, yeah.
So he's been really good at Coda, and I feel like some of Coda's driving characteristics can transfer over to Chicago.
Yeah, except the part about leaving the racetrack. But other than that, I think you're spot on. So anyway, Tyler Reddick flubs it again. He has a tendency of doing that. He is essentially Kyle Larson in a Toyota. So anytime someone brings up that Toyota had Kyle Larson, they do. His name is Tyler Reddick. And I totally brushed over Kyle Larson, Larsoning it into the wall. I'm just going to start calling it that from now on.
Dude, I know, dead ass. That scared me.
Yeah,
that really
it looked hard.
Me. I mean, it seemed, as I watched it back, it did not look nearly as hard as it looked in person. I thought he just went full. I thought he was I didn't know what he was doing. I thought he went in there full speed, just straight into the fucking tire.
Initially, I thought it was throttle hog.
That too. I thought that maybe that had happened. I don't know. He had no control over the car. I heard Chuck said in the group chat, he was trying to avoid Ty Gibbs. I don't think that was what was happening. As soon as he got on the brakes, he was out of control. There was nothing he could do.
I mean, it looked like he just got on him way too late, but also he's clearly out of control way, way back. So I don't.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was out of control and tried to get on the brakes, and that just the back end was already wobbling, and once he got on the brakes, it stopped the front end and pitched the rears, and he had no control over that. So tough break for him. Obviously, I mean, we saw the amazing battle on Saturday between Kyle and SVG, and we thought that was going to be the deal, and these guys finished last and second to last.
If it doesn't rain, that would have been the battle, and Shane would have won. Let's be real here.
Awesome.
Let's be real. Shane would have played with his food a little more and then won.
Peter, I want to ask you: Do you think on Saturday, do you think that Shane and Kyle were just studying each other?
I think so, yeah. And that's what Kyle said post-race, that whether Shane was behind him or he was behind Shane, he was going to school and he learned a lot, just being on track, close to him, kind of obviously not seeing what his hands and feet were doing, but seeing tendencies that he was doing. And he said as much after last year, too, that he was following Shane through the field and was picking up on several cues.
Yeah. That was an IQ move by Kyle Larson.
Yeah. God help the field if Kyle Larson picks up enough stuff from Shane Van Geisbergen.
Yeah.
I hope. Dead serious. Like,
no, imagine if Shane can pick up stuff from Kyle on an oval.
Dude, this is kind of what I'm hoping ends up happening is these two just kind of
How great would that be for us? We've been calling them the greatest race car drivers in the world forever, and we're about to be proved right.
Yeah. I mean, if this could somehow culminate someday in the two of them running at Bathurst together, we'd have to go, so that would be expensive, but fuck it. But, I mean, it'd be sick. It'd be sincerely sick. And again, whenever I finally meet Shane, I'm going to be like, hey, guy, what's the likelihood we get you in a high limit sprint car race? Just because I'd love to see them two battle it out. I'm sure, again, they learn more things from each other.
Oh, God, yeah.
It just,
there's a lot
I
of
hope
respect
this becomes
there.
a bromance.
This is a lot. There's a lot of, they were on the fucking driver intro cart together.
Yeah.
They had like, them splitting all the drivers splitting thirds, and they were sitting there talking to each other during the cup race. I'm sorry to Kyle. I interrupted Shane's conversation with you because Senpai, I was holding up our nation's flag and Senpai noticed me. So that was awesome. He gave me a big thumbs up and like a point. So that was awesome.
Cool.
That was great. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But I don't know. Ultimately, I really, really, really want to see one of these races run in the dry.
Yes.
Really badly.
Well, hang on. Before we get into this, let's talk about Alex Bowman. Okay. I say, Peter, do you think he was on the hot seat at all?
No, not at all. He had a contract and full ally support through 2026. This was, I'm not going to use the exact word Alex used, but Twitter rumors that amounted to nothing, and Jeff Gordon more or less said the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Just want to clarify that.
He would maybe have been on the hot seat if this were 2026 and he had not won in 2 years, but obviously that's not the case.
Yeah. Seth, do you have anything on Alex Bowman before I go off?
Alex Bowman is in the unfortunate scenario of being the fourth guy at Hendrick.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Alex Bowman's a great race car driver. I'm sorry. Like I said this last year, only 206 guys have ever won a NASCAR Cup Series race.
Mm-hmm.
He's won 8 of them. Granted, he's in a Hendrick car. Maybe the consensus is he should have won more. People underestimate how much the concussion, because if you really look at it, Alex Bowman won a race in 2019. He had a great 2020. He had an inconsistent but also winning 2021. If it looked as though maybe he could have combined both in 2022. He came out the gate and won, had some strong runs, tapered off in the summer, and just as he was hitting his stride in the playoffs, he got a concussion. Okay, he recovers from that. Comes out the gate. He's the points leader. He is the points leader when he breaks his back. Nobody recognizes that. And he comes back and he's not the same. We heard Denny Hamlin defend him and say, yo, I did the same thing in 2013. I was not the same the rest of that season. And we've seen him come out of the gate this year, and he's had top 10 after top 10 after. He's got the second most top 10s out of anybody in the field. But yet he needs to be fired. Chase Elliott, why are we same thing. He hadn't won in however long. He had, just as many top 10s, if not less than Alex Bowman. Like Chase had the best average finish. Bowman had the most top 10s or second most. Like, there's not much of a difference here. It's the same thing with William Byron. Virtually Alex Bowman and William Byron were the same driver up until last year. And it frustrates the hell out of me to see the hate that Alex Bowman gets, because obviously I'm wearing the shirt. I'm an Alex Bowman fan. It's no secret. We all know this. But I mean, he can do this. He can be in a Hendrick car. He can succeed in a Hendrick car. I mean, he just won in some tough conditions on one of the toughest racetracks in NASCAR right now. And I put some respect on my boy, dude. I mean, good Lord. I mean, this was awesome for me just because I was at the race. Shane won on Saturday. That was awesome. It was a lot. Okay. So Kevin Harvick obviously was my favorite driver for 20 years. As far as like a new favorite driver, it's been hard. I Daniel Suarez is who I've claimed as my favorite. I still stand by that. That's my mi amigo. Like that's my homie. I love Shane Van Geisbergen because of what he's done for this channel, his driving style, the experiences we had last year with him at the Chicago Street Race. I love Shane Van Geisbergen. Alex Bowman, I have a special attachment to because he is my Kevin Harvick for reasons, just for personal reasons. Quick story. My mom, she was an Earnhardt Sr. fan, switched to Harvick when Sr. died, and then decided, actually, I'm going to go with Dale Jr. And it's kind of the same thing that happened when Dale Jr. retired. She was going to go with Bowman, decided to go with Suarez, and I kind of picked up Alex Bowman. And so it was a very sentimental weekend for me because I've had a hard time replacing Kevin Harvick as a favorite driver. And I've gotten to have three, even more than that because Shane's won 3 times, but I've got to have a lot of special moments with those 3 drivers I just mentioned this year. And this just adds to it, man, because I love the street race. You guys know I lived in Chicago for a little bit. It is a special place for me. And to get to go to the street race last year was unbelievable. To get to come back next year and see my favorite Xfinity driver, Shane Van Geisbergen, win. One of my favorite drivers, one of my drivers in NASCAR win. And then see another one of them win on Sunday. Super special weekend for me, man. It's really awesome. It was really one of the coolest weekends of my life. I had to share that with you guys. So yeah, proud of Alex Bowman. Cheers to you. I was right there with you. If I could have been, I would have been waking up naked on the bathroom floor as well. So
I'm really glad Sunday wound up working out for you, because when Shane wrecked and it started pouring, I was like, damn, that's gotta fucking suck, dude.
I hope Mom doesn't listen to the show, but there was a point where it stopped raining and then it started back up after drivers got told to go to their cars, and it started raining again. I considered being like, Mom, do you just want to leave? I seriously did. I was like, dude, Shane's out. Like, I don't, like, this is miserable.
Now imagine in hindsight, if you had left and Bowman won.
I would have been pissed. I would have been super pissed. Dude, I leaned over to Mom and I was just trying to prepare myself for disappointment because I'd never do that. I looked over at Mom. I said, Alex is about to take the lead. He's not going to do it though. He's going to try to make it on fuel, but he's not going to, there's no way he's going to do it. And he fucking did it. So that was awesome. I'm proud of Alex Bowman, man.
Yeah. So that'll lock Alex Bowman into the playoffs. Now all 400 cars have won this season. Both Alex and Chase kind of won in similar ways. If I'm being completely honest. Actually, it's basically the exact same way. The favorite ended up out of the race due to no fault of their own. And then they came back and picked up the pieces. Kind of funny how that works, I guess.
Yeah.
What else is funny is that Hendrick has won all 3 road courses this year, and none of them are Chase.
That's not surprising to me.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually, all 3 of them except Chase have won.
Yeah.
Chase is the only Hendrick Motorsports driver to not have a win in the next gen car on a road course.
Correct.
Wow. Skill issue.
I mean, we say that in jest because like he was definitely going to win the Charlotte Roval if a sign hadn't fallen over.
Yeah. Well, and then Kevin Harvick was until.
I mean, whatever. It's semantics.
The cool down lap incident.
Yes,
Bubba Wallace
both
out.
cool down incidents.
Yeah.
Penalties. Peter, do you think that they should or will?
I've been told watch Twitter at 9 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday morning. We're recording this Tuesday night, so that's all I know. I don't know anything more. I've just been
Sounds
told.
like a probably.
I've just been told to watch Twitter at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning.
Okay. All right.
I don't know who or which one.
Do you think anybody now, in your opinion, do you think anybody should?
I could make an argument for Bubba, but Chase, I don't know. But if you penalize one and not the other, that opens a can of worms. So I don't know. I'd go both or neither.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that
Bubba Wallace ran in Alex Bowman on the cool down lap because Alex spun him out on caution. And then Chase Elliott ran into Daniel Suarez on the cool down lap,
who had wrecked him earlier.
Yes.
On the last lap, I believe.
On the last lap.
And me and Migo took blame for that wreck. Chase Elliott lifted for the corner way fucking early. Daniel, like, that was Chase Elliott's fault.
Okay, either way, here's where I'm at with it. Normally, I would say no to both. And in every other circumstance, I would say no to Chase. But I'm going to say yes to Bubba. So I guess I'm going to have to say yes to Chase. I don't really care. But Bubba needs to grow the fuck up. If I'm being completely honest, he does shit like this far too often. I like Bubba. I do like Bubba. Yeah. But it's time to send a message to Bubba Wallace that he needs to chill the fuck out. That's my opinion on it.
It's really not that different from Hocevar last week. It was time to send a message to Hocevar. He's feeling it in his pocket and in his points this week. I feel like obviously it's a different circumstance entirely, but I feel like the same message could be sent to Bubba.
Yeah, I mean, because we saw the incident at New Hampshire where he drove through Noah Gragson's pit box, which, being a Kevin Harvick fan, I shouldn't call out, but I am going to call out. I think a monetary fine is definitely needed for Bubba. I would not like to see a points fine. No, I don't want to see that either. What happened to probation?
We haven't done that in a long time.
What happened to that? Like, let's put him on probation for like the rest of the year or something. Like, hey, be careful. Like, I mean, I didn't.
But that always felt like a finger wag. Like, don't do that again.
Yeah, it worked though. It worked because Kevin Harvick literally said one time, he was like, "It's boys have at it except for that car," talking about Kyle Busch. So I mean, it works if they do it. So I wish they would bring that back. Alex obviously didn't have a problem with it. He thought it was justified for what it was. But
he just felt bad. Didn't want to sound like a whiny baby complaining about it.
Right. And Denny on his show said that Alex was willing to move on, but obviously having just won the race helped that.
Now, I will say the amount of times I hear the reasons you shouldn't do it the reason that you shouldn't do it shouldn't be that guys are taking their belts off, because you're not supposed to take your belts off.
No, that's
stupid. If you can wreck at 30 miles an hour, you can wreck at 20 miles an hour without a seatbelt and die. It's not unheard of. It's not unheard of.
100%. Like that is not the argument we should be making. Yeah, like drivers should leave their seatbelts on until they get back in the car, or get back to the
They should, but with Bowman being the winner, him coming back to do his burnout, I could make an argument that he was getting ready to get out of the car and stay on the roof or
He still shouldn't do it, I don't think.
He should still wait until at the very least he's the only car on the racetrack.
Yeah.
At that point, yeah, if you want to do a burnout, and I'm not necessarily getting on. I've seen this a lot over the past couple days, and I'm like, dudes, that's you not taking your own safety into account doesn't make what someone did worse. It can also be something we shouldn't allow.
Yeah.
But it's not really the same thing to me anyway. That's
if anything, maybe we should do this. If you get to pit road, an official has to come by and make sure you're still buckled. Like they do lug nuts.
And then what? A fine?
They check lug nuts. Yeah, a fine or some sort of something.
Yeah.
If you're not. Like, I mean, I think that's that is a safety thing. Yeah. I think and a lug nut, that's a safety thing. I think that's 100% fair. And then, I think that eliminates this argument that we're having, if that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything more on that one?
I think that's it.
Okay. Sundress and dumbass. I'm gonna go with Joey Hand for Sundress.
Who you got, Peter?
I will go the Xfinity Series. You're putting on possibly one of their best races in series history. Drivers, winners aside, that was one of the best motor races I've ever witnessed. Definitely a top 5 Xfinity race I've ever seen. Just everything about Saturday was beautiful.
I got an extensive sundress. One, Shane Van Geisbergen.
Shocker.
Are you guys able to hear me? My internet just like
we are. Yeah.
All right. My internet was just cutting out.
You said SVG.
Yes, SVG sundress. Alex Bowman, another sundress. Let's see. Everybody, all of our viewers and subscribers, you guys are amazing. We went up 40, almost 50 subscribers over this weekend. Thank you guys so much for that. And then also, the friends I met after the race, forgive me, I was over the moon. I was not at all on this planet after the race. I was pretty excited for the outcome. But 3 friends I met after the race, great people. Wish I could remember their names. They were great. They were great to hang out with after the race. It was their second race, I think they said, ever. And they mentioned that they said that my energy, pulling for Alex Bowman and just the overall emotion that goes into, went into the last few laps of that race for me, where, they said it was a selling point for them to go to races, and beyond, just because it sold the fact that, how much this NASCAR means to the entire world. So shout out to them. And shout out to the city of Chicago for everything. Again, it was a great weekend, and I'm over the moon and can't wait to go back next year.
All right. Dumbass. I'm going to go with Chase Briscoe. I think he wrecked about 5 times. Yeah. Super Chase.
Chase. Peter.
For my dumbass, I will go the protester who decided to handcuff himself to the fence for the race. I am glad TV did not show him, but still, he delayed the race by 15 minutes. They should have left him up
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Something like that.
What happened? I didn't hear this.
There's a protester that climbed the fence in turn 3.
And he
took 15 minutes to get him off?
Yeah.
Because he handcuffed himself to the top of the fence.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's TV why I was able to get home in time.
Not hearing about it is actually
mean, dude, look, free Palestine, but fucking A, bro. Don't make it my problem.
They definitely should have left him up there.
Right to peacefully protest, but not at a motor race.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
If he's handcuffed, he sounds like he's secure to me.
Hold on. You know what? I didn't have a dumbass because you guys took mine, but you know who my dumbass is? The security. Because they said that they were going to come and protest. They put it out there earlier this week that they were going to come and protest the race. Why was security not on that?
Now,
how was that even allowed to be? How is that allowed to happen?
I have a question. How did he even get handcuffs in? Like, that wouldn't have set off the metal detector?
Dude, I saw a fucking dude with a fucking umbrella and a backpack.
What?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
I had to think about it. I was at Mid-Ohio all weekend, and all I saw were lawn chairs, umbrellas, and backpacks. So I was confused as to why that was a problem.
Yeah, no. Like, everybody, it was just one kid. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It was crazy. All right.
What I think we need to do is, or you or whoever, if I end up going to Chicago again next year, I don't know. But
please do, dude. It was so much fun.
I will think about it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there yet. What we need to do is go up there like a month or like a week before and plant a backpack.
I don't think that's going to work because I think that's going to be taken as something else.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, what we could do is plant water bottles.
We could bury them, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Cooler. Yeah.
I don't even need the cooler, just the water bottles.
Well, you got to keep them somewhat clean.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we could take them to like, there's a sink around there, right?
Yeah, they did have water filling stations and stuff. Yeah.
It could work.
Yeah.
Someone did. Where were we at where someone did that with? Oh, no, I was at like a festival or something and someone had done that with like a bottle of vodka or some shit.
Nice.
So apparently that works. Anyway. All right.
Shout out also to all the activation that was in Chicago. There's a lot of activation and we love to see
that was honestly probably, other than the race itself, probably my favorite thing about going to the race last year was just saying
a lot of free stuff being handed out.
Well, a lot of free stuff and just a lot of, a lot of engagement with new fans. And the way they did it was obviously a lot different than you would do it at a traditional NASCAR race. And just to see them actually embrace the fact that people don't know what's going on here. And, you walk in, I remember, I don't know what it was like this year, but you walk in to get your wristband and they're like, have you been to a race before? And, that's the way it kind of starts. And everyone you kind of talk to is like, have you been to a race before? And if you have, the conversation
this year.
Yeah. But obviously, if for people who haven't been there, if you have, the conversation's different than if you haven't. So I appreciate them. I mean, obviously, that's the entire point. So I appreciate them, doing that and committing to it, because it could be really easy to be like, get annoyed a little bit if someone like, oh, you don't know what the hell you're talking about or whatever. But
exactly.
And that was the atmosphere. Anyone we were around, at least last year, that I only say that because that's my experience with it. That was new to it, or anyone that wasn't new to it, was very receptive of everyone who was new to it, and it was just a really fun atmosphere in general.
It was a big community feeling, because the people that weren't previously NASCAR fans that came to the race, they would ask questions, and you know how much of nerds NASCAR fans are. So when they ask questions, we turn around and we start talking, and you make a new friend. Like, it was very much a community vibe. All throughout the event there. So love that. Yeah. It's just overall great event. Picks.
All right. So I had Shane Van Geisbergen and he finished last.
Chuck did not pick.
And I guess he's not
picking
again.
He finished last +1, right?
Huh?
He finishes last +1 then, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Chuck's in 41st.
Might give him negative points. So I pick first. We're going to Pocono. I'm picking Tyler Reddick.
All right. I'm also going Toyota. I'm going to go with Eric Jones because I'm starting to scrape the barrel here.
I'll be boring. I'll go Christopher Bell.
That is boring.
All right.
Yeah. He didn't fast. He could have won probably the last 6 races.
Oh, I mean, it's a great pick. It's just boring.
Yeah.
All right. Was this race bitchin'?
It was. This race was a bitch, and she was wet. Let me tell you.
Okay. I'm gonna go with overall. That's where I'm gonna go with it. Overall, obviously, anytime that I end up falling asleep after stage 2 in a race, even if it was for a rain delay, I was really confused when I woke up. It was 9 o'clock, and I'm like, this race is still not done. Holy shit, there's 18 minutes left. What the hell's going on? Joey Hand is in the lead. I was so confused. I thought I was dreaming for a minute.
I was gonna be pissed if Joey Hand won.
It would have been kind of funny though.
It would have been kind of funny, but I also would have been like, well, fuck, man. Like, no. Like, takes away from Shane winning it.
Well, no, Joey Hand had made starts before though.
I guess. Yeah, but everybody was gonna be like, oh, look, another ringer won the race. No.
Yeah.
Shane's the only one because Shane's the fucking GOAT.
It's fair. Do we have anything else?
That's all I have, dude. Chicago's awesome. Way better than fucking Road America.
That'll only piss off a couple people.
That's fine.
Me being one of them.
Get over it.
I'm not.
Yeah, that's fine.
We can get rid of Coda because I still hate the track limit thing. So we can swap that out. We can both be happy.
Fucking Peter's gone. All right. We'll see you guys. See you guys after the Tricky Triangle. Go fuck yourselves.